A listener warning. Please be advised that this episode contains content that may be disturbing to some listeners, including descriptions of violence. Listener discretion is advised.
Life upon the wicked stage ain't ever what a girl supposes.
I'm Jen.
I'm Ashley.
And I'm Olivia.
And we are, in fact, three different people.
This podcast focuses on true crime under the spotlight of arts and entertainment. So grab your beverage of choice and settle in.
Places, ladies.
Here's our episode. Hello.
Nom, nom, nom,
Nom,
Crunch,
nom, nom.
crunch, crunch.
Everyone's eating except me today. That's all right. I already ate. It's fine.
Olivia and I did not plan our lives right, and just, you know, it was better than the alternative, which was drinking on a fully empty stomach, and who knows what would be
And
brought.
I don't want you to be hangry.
And I think that's when it's
like-
a good time to eat cheese and crackers.
Yeah, it's what you learn in like radio school, right? Like chomp, 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 right in the
Radio school.
Jen has
Yay.
yet another a saga. I feel like we've had a few
do.
of these.
I've had a
like,
few
just-
sagas this time. Yeah, really digging in.
You're such a
Are
soap
we
opera.
ready? I am. You know, drama, drama, drama.
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 All right.
So we're going.
Yep.
We were in the like the 90s and the early aughts last week. So we're going back to where are we going back to this week, Jen? We're going back in time again.
We're going back to 1947. That's where we're starting.
Okay, post-war era.
Post-war, post-World War II.
Okay.
You ladies, you floozies, ready to get into it?
But pre-World War III.
Correct. Let's not even. Don't. That'll make my anxiety spike.
I'm sorry. That'll surpass.
soon.
It'll surpass your
Resist.
meds, my meds, everything.
It's fine. And a lot of what we're going to talk about today is very timely.
Fun fact. Just while we're on this, I saw this. World War II was not actually named until, I want to say it might have been 1947, but it was after the war was over, like fully over. It was not ever referred to as World War II, like when they were in it. They weren't like,
I've
this is
often
World
wondered
War
that.
II.
Yeah,
Right.
like when do you
'Cause
know that it's
It was a World War.
Yeah,
After the
After.
fact. Yeah, they were like, by the way, like, I think we can all agree, like, now that this is all resolved and everyone's back in their camp, World War II?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just did that? Cool. Okay,
Yeah,
great.
because
Yeah,
World War
awesome.
One was the Great War.
That's right.
Right.
You're right.
During.
During.
And then we had two, so then it was like, well, that one then was one, so
That's
yes,
right.
nomenclature.
Too,
Yeah,
so
labels,
maybe it's a good
labels
sign
matter.
that we're already trying to like name it, that it won't actually happen.
Yeah, I like that. Name
Yeah,
it. Name
you
your
like that?
fears.
Name your fears, and it takes the fear out of it, right?
It's so we're not on the precipice of anything in particular because it's too soon to say. That's
soon
that's
to
my
tell.
That's my PSA for this week.
I like
love
it.
it.
I like it,
It's
Ashley.
a good PSA.
So, but
in
Jen, speaking of
1947
fear, go ahead, take it away.
All right. So today we are talking about the Red Scare in Hollywood, which kind of sounds like a history lesson, but the more I read about it, the more it really starts to feel like a true crime story. So
This would be classified
Here we go.
as it's true crimey in the sense. Well, I mean, Jen, you're going to unpack it, but this is also like this is a whole episode and a whole case of what I'm assuming is a lot of like rumors and innuendo and like speculation and
Yes.
like calling people's reputations
Yes.
and integrity into question, not necessarily like a capital C crime like oh you like
But-
murdered someone or anything like that, but also at the same
The
time
damage
like,
was
accusing
done, right? Yeah,
Damage
the
was
damage
done. Big time.
accusing people also of what was at that time, I think like people's affiliations, like a very significant like this was a big deal. This wasn't just
was a big
like
deal.
I'm trying to like think of anything like modern
Well,
day,
like a
and
witch
I feel
hunt.
like
I mean, like
is a witch
1692
hunt.
is maybe the last
Oh, listen, we're going to
something
get
like
into
that
it.
happened. Okay, very
Yeah,
similar.
yeah.
It always and I know there's the Crucible and all that stuff, but it reminds me of
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's
For sure.
it's very like rooted in that, I guess. Like we've never really talked about a case quite like this, I don't think, Jen. Like this
No,
is
we
unique
haven't.
among our cases.
It is.
So.
yeah.
It is. So here we go.
Here we go.
On October 20th, 1947, members of the House Un-American Activities Committee began an investigation into alleged communist influences in the film industry as the post-World War II Red Scare ramped up towards its peak, because there was a Red Scare during World War I. So this is the second one.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Neither did I. So this is the second one, but this is the one we know about and obviously has to do with entertainment.
Can you say what the name of that bizarre office in
I
the government was?
absolutely can. Because it's so disgusting.
Yeah.
The House Un-American Activities Committee.
So our this is reminding me of, I'm just going to type it in real quick.
Just
Hold
do
on.
it.
Yeah. Her new position.
Oh, her new position?
Yeah. Kristi Noem. Here we
yeah.
go. This is what it reminds me of. She, as we learned this week in American history, when this podcast is viewed in the future, and she was just fired as Homeland Security. So her new appointment is Special Envoy for the Shield of the Americas.
Yep.
Like what?
Oh yeah. You just make up whatever you want, right?
Great.
Words.
Words, exactly. Fearing a conspiracy that would inject propaganda into productions and recruit movie-going Americans to communist causes, the committee subpoenaed more than 40 actors, directors, writers, and studio execs, whom they grilled about their political affiliations and asked to name names of other Hollywood communists. This lasted from 1947 to 1956, so just about 10 years.
Wow.
Yep.
I didn't know it was that long.
10 years.
There were people brought into this committee, and we'll talk about that. However, at the end, and we'll put it on our socials, I have a list of everyone that was blacklisted, and it is ridiculous.
It's
how many people and who.
I hate the names part. That's very Nazism.
And it's
very
what it
witch
is.
hunty.
That's
Gotta
what
name a
this
name.
whole thing is about. And we're going to get real into it. So
Okay.
while 80 celebrities, including people like Lauren Bacall, Humphrey Bogart, Gene Kelly, signed a petition denouncing this committee as un-American itself for probing the politics of individual citizens, the anti-communist momentum of the day carried the hearings forward. In fact, Henry Fonda was one of the founding members of the Committee for the First Amendment, which was founded to oppose the infamous House Un-American Activities Committee. And his daughter, Jane Fonda, just relaunched that committee in 2025.
No shit.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
So she brought it back because of things that are happening
Because of
today.
things that are happening. There are people in higher ed institutions
Yes.
that have been fired
Yes.
because they've used the terms diversity, equity, or inclusion in their departments or whatever.
Yeah, so much of this, Jen, I think this sounds like, it was and or is, and I'm assuming in World War I as well, this really is rooted heavily in the First Amendment and, personal beliefs and free speech and what is or is not protected by that, and sort of like, where is the line that constitutes maybe something you say or like art you make or something as, un-American or like unpatriotic, like, and does that even make you dangerous to be critical of, your country or leadership?
Exactly.
So like this is a big old First Amendment party we're about to
it
talk
really
about.
is.
It sounds like. Ooh,
Yeah.
Okay.
And this story, as you floozies hinted at, it's all a story about accusations. Public hearings, people being forced to betray their friends, careers destroyed overnight, people being thrown into prison for no reason, and almost nobody actually being convicted of a real crime.
Really?
Yeah.
So there's would this be equivalent to like we're looking for weapons of mass destruction and we never did find any? Is this like
yes, it would be equivalent to that.
It's like
there
we're
are lists
looking for
that
this.
never existed.
Okay.
Yes.
But it also makes me think it's just interesting to live in the time of the Epstein files where we are now, where there are lists that actually are really bad and people really did some really bad shit like
correct.
That. And they're not being held accountable. Right. They're not actually being prosecuted. Right.
Yeah.
It's backwards day. It seems like
it is
when there
backwards day.
is overwhelming, documentation of, something, or, tangible evidence or tangible testimony where people are like saying, hey, I'm, filing a police report, or hey, like something horrible has actually happened to me. Someone should look into this. It seems like we're very hesitant to do that. But then when it's like, hey, I have an idea about something I think might have happened just based on like vibes. They're like, oh my God, like launch a committee. Like, let's have an investigation. It's like,
let's have a committee.
Is there any there? Or is this just like you like feeling like, it's like, I don't know, communists like feel scary. And also like, there's an actor and I saw them say something once I didn't like maybe this is a national emergency.
Yeah, basically that's what happened. And I'm going to tear all of that apart for those that maybe don't even know what the Red Scare was. So this story has everything. We have government investigations. We have movie stars. We have secret lists, fake names, Lucille Ball, and yes, our favorite, Orson Welles.
Yay!
Orson Welles is finally making a comeback.
He's making a comeback.
Orson Welles is back.
Yeah. He's really involved this week. He's not just an
He's actually involved. Yeah. Okay.
Incredible.
Great. So, what is the Red Scare? Gather around, children. Quick little history lesson. After World War II, the United States became completely obsessed with the idea that communists were everywhere. In the government, in the schools, in the unions, in the military, and in Hollywood. The Cold War had started. The US and the Soviet Union were now enemies, and Americans were told that communism wasn't just a different political system, it was a threat to the entire country. So the government started investigating people, not for crimes, but for beliefs. That was when the committee called the House Un-American Activities Committee was created by Congress, which obviously sounds something from a dystopian movie or, today. Their job
a dystopian movie or today.
Yeah.
Or March 8th, 2026. Yeah.
Exactly. Was to investigate people suspected of being un-American. Not illegal, just un-American. So they held public hearings and they asked the same question over and over and over again. Are you now, or have you ever been, a member of the Communist Party? If you said yes, you could lose your job. If you said no, they might not believe you. And if you refused to answer, you could go to jail.
How do you defend yourself against something? Have you ever thought this thought?
Right.
Have you ever thought this thought? No one's going to believe you, whether you say either you have to admit that you have or no one's going to believe you.
Correct.
Well, this is not Minority Report. We don't do thought police here. Thoughts are not illegal.
Right.
And thank goodness. But thoughts of any kind are not illegal until you act on something and commit a capital C crime. Right. Feelings are not crimes. Jen,
so we're going to get into right now what communism actually is, because it's not what you think it is. Because that's exactly right. Everybody thought it was this horrible, evil thing,
Sure.
And the big reason behind that, simple explanation, is the Soviet Union.
Yes.
Okay. They were the bad guys, and they were communist. And they didn't use communism in the correct way. And we're going to talk about that.
Okay.
And it depends on who's in power, because I've done a lot of reading about Mao Zedong in China. It just fascinates me how this whole thing happened. That was the evil of communism because of one man's ego.
Right. That's when it gets bad. Yes. So we're going to talk about what communism actually meant at the time, because it's gone through a couple different changes. So because when people hear communists now, they think Soviet spies, Cold War villains, nuclear war, the Americans, KGB, all of that. But in the 1930s and 40s, it didn't always mean that. Communism is a political system based on the idea that wealth and property should be shared, and that workers, not corporations, should control production. The exact definition is a political theory derived from Karl Marx advocating class war and leading to a society in which all property is publicly owned and each person works and is paid according to their abilities and needs, eventually leading to a classless society.
But has it ever worked? Because
the people in charge have egos.
And they become greedy, or they are greedy from the start. Also, just an interesting historical note, 1949 is when the Communist Party of China ended its rule. So I'm also thinking that the communist, I mean, there's still, and then it came back. But
Sure.
But it's just interesting because I have a feeling that there was also fear of China coming in and taking over, which we still have. But yeah.
It was mostly the Soviet Union because we were right in the Cold War.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah, that's right.
That's interesting, Jen, though, that the sort of like the textbook ideology, like what is this on paper, like on its face, versus, the theory versus the execution of this.
Right.
And understanding that just because of, I'll say, like, faulty human beings, no one has successfully done this because, you end up with like an authoritarian leader or like a dictator. And it's like, we're calling it communism, but actually you're not even really doing communism. Like you're doing some other bastardized version. I feel like the whole like, oh, everyone is equal and like no one is, we're going to share the resources and it's divided among everyone. There's the film Dr. Zhivago from the 60s, very Russian, but as part of, the Russian Revolution, like there's a scene where, this is not a spoiler, but he comes back to his home, which we've seen in the first part of the movie. It's like, beautiful. And like, he's a doctor and his family's very wealthy. And like, they have a beautiful home in, I think, St. Petersburg, I want to say. And then they come back like mid-revolution and like 75 people have moved into their house and they're like, well, we're redistributing like the wealth and like you are only entitled to like live in this one room because we are all like equal now and like you are not. And he's like, but like I worked for this, like, we owned like this home and they're like, not anymore. So I feel like people will seize on examples also like that in a very extreme situation of like, wealth redistribution. It's like, well, why work hard? Like the communists will just like take it all away from you. So the people who don't do anything will benefit and the people who did everything will lose. Like,
yeah, in theory, it's all about equality, but in practice... Yeah, in practice, like in places like the Soviet Union, it became a dictatorship. It became an authoritarianism, But in the United States, in the 1930s, the Communist Party didn't mean you wanted America to be taken over. Sometimes it just meant that you were angry. Angry about poverty, angry about inequality, about the Great Depression. And a lot of people were. Sure. So a lot of people joined the Communist Party in the 1930s.
We had an actual Communist Party in the U.S.
Yes,
like
it was
like
here.
You could join.
People
like,
had meetings.
Interesting.
Yes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is interesting. I didn't know that it was actual. I thought it was all innuendo. I didn't know there really was a Communist Party.
No, there was.
So you could be a card-carrying communist. Like
you could be a card-carrying commie in America in the 30s.
Card-carrying commie. Also, Jen, go back and this is a side note.
Yeah.
I read that they took over communism China in 1949.
Oh,
the party founded in 21 and took over in 49. I was like, wait a minute. They took all the way through the 50s through the 70s. What am I talking about? So just cut that part out earlier.
All right. Patreon. Yeah. So the Great Depression kind of changed everything in America, as we know. Millions lost their jobs, banks failed, families lost their homes, and there wasn't a safety net yet because there was no Social Security. There were no unemployment checks, no minimum wage. So workers were desperate. And the Communist Party in the U.S. was involved in things like the labor unions, civil rights organizing, anti-fascist protests, unemployment marches, fighting segregation. So for a lot of artists and writers and, artsy people, joining the party didn't mean they wanted a revolution. It just meant they supported workers, they believed in equality, and they thought capitalism had failed, which it had, which it has.
It manifestly had it with the Great Depression. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Like coming out of that. And then, because we had the Great Depression, we were just sort of getting to the point where like, I mean, the war actually did a lot to really lift the country out of the
war is very good for business.
Sure is.
It is, but it was like we never really quite like got over the Great Depression before World War II launched. So this is really the first time that we're sort of confronting, I think, even like, fallout from those two major events. And
that's so true.
Like, what now, like 15 years really as a country. So it sounds like, Jen, there was a lot of maybe less on the political side, but almost like some of the causes you're naming, like a lot of social momentum behind,
it's a form of socialism.
Like why were people supporting this? And it was like, well, all the other things we've tried have not gone so hot.
Have not worked.
And maybe let's think about another way of going about something like, protection for workers, like just
exactly.
on its face.
And in intellectual circles, it was really very common, to be a card-carrying commie. So, and this was especially prevalent in Hollywood because Hollywood's full of writers and actors and directors and artists. And hey, they have opinions and they're not afraid to talk about them.
And they have a platform.
And they have
even though people get mad at them when they use it.
Yes. And that is why Hollywood became a target, not because it was full of spies, but because it was full of storytellers. And movies influence culture. Actors influence people, writers influence ideas, and the government decided that was dangerous.
So there were more people who were being investigated, I'm assuming, like in politics and in other, areas of leadership.
Absolutely.
But Hollywood did get its own big special target.
Yes.
And for purposes of our story today, that is our focus. But this went beyond Hollywood. Like
it did, and we'll touch on it a little bit when we talk about Joseph McCarthy. But yes, it went. It was everywhere.
I know that.
You know that
name.
guy.
I know where. Oh God. Oh geez.
Yeah.
Okay.
So once the idea took hold that communists could be anywhere, especially in Hollywood, all it took was one accusation to ruin someone's life. And that's what started happening in 1947. That's when that House Un-American Activities Committee decided it was time to investigate Hollywood. So Congress announced that communist influences had infiltrated the film industry. And obviously, if America was in danger, it must be the screenwriters, right?
Because they're the ones out to take us down.
Yeah.
I like that they announced that there's definitely been an infiltration before they have investigated in any way. It's cart horse. Like,
it's like, it sounds so dramatic. It's like, are there secret messages in musicals? Is Bing Crosby a spy? Are people being radicalized by spaghetti westerns? I don't know. That's what they're like saying, right?
Incredible.
So the hearings were very, very real, and this is what would happen. Actors, writers, directors were subpoenaed. They had to go to Washington, sit in front of Congress, and answer questions about their political beliefs. Are you now, or have you ever been, a member of the Communist Party? Not what they did, but what they believed. And the way that you answered that question would decide your entire future.
Wow.
Yeah. So these hearings divided people into two groups. Friendly witnesses, cooperated. They answered questions. They named names. They told Congress who they thought were communists. Unfriendly witnesses refused. They said the government didn't have the right to ask. They said political beliefs were private. They said this violated the Constitution.
And then what happened to them?
Well, Congress didn't like it. And the most famous group of unfriendly witnesses became known as the Hollywood 10. And these weren't just random people. These were some of the most successful writers and directors in Hollywood, which kind of what makes what happened next even scarier, because if it can happen to them, it can happen to everyone, right? So we're going to go through them kind of quickly, but I think it's important that we talk about their names. And like I said earlier, we'll put a list of everybody that was blacklisted at one point up on our socials because it's hundreds and hundreds of people. So the Hollywood 10 were award-winning working Hollywood writers and directors. First, we have Dalton Trumbo. I'm sure you've heard the name Trumbo before. He was one of the highest paid screenwriters in Hollywood. He wrote films like 30 Seconds Over Tokyo, Kitty Foyle. Later, he would secretly write Roman Holiday and Spartacus.
Secretly, because he couldn't actually write it.
He couldn't put his name on it. And we'll talk about his pseudonyms. He was a huge deal. We had Ringlarter Jr., who was an Oscar-winning writer. He won the Academy Award for Woman of the Year. Edward Dmytryk, who was a successful director known for film noir movies like Murder, My Sweet and Crossfire. Alvy Bessie, who was a writer and novelist. Hubert Biberman, writer and director. He later made the film Salt of the Earth while blacklisted. Lester Cole was one of the founders of the Writers Guild. Very outspoken politically. Congress didn't like that. John Howard Lawson, another major writer, also head of the Writers Guild at one point. Very political. Albert Maltz, Oscar-winning writer. Samuel Oronitz, writer and novelist. And finally, we have Adrian Scott, who was the producer of the film Crossfire. So these 10 men refused to answer questions. And Congress decided that refusing to answer questions was a crime. These Hollywood 10 were charged with contempt of Congress. Not espionage, not treason, not sabotage, contempt of Congress, which basically meant they didn't cooperate.
And I think not doing the fifth? Like, is that not? No. We're just like flinging the fifth, like
flinging it out the window. Like, and they wouldn't name names. So it wasn't just that they wouldn't cooperate and answer questions. They also would not say, throw somebody else under the bus. Right.
I think, isn't that still a thing, though, where in Congress, if you're called before Congress to testify, you are supposed to answer them. I don't know if you get to say no comment. Like, I don't know if I think you can be held in contempt if you do.
I will check this.
Check it out.
Okay. If this is a rule. Because you're right, Olivia. I think there are.
Yes. There are some different rules.
Being in a congressional hearing is also. Yeah. I'll look this up.
Great. So, so basically contempt of Congress means they weren't cooperating and they were convicted. They were sentenced to prison, and most of them served about a year in federal prison. So, because of this Hollywood 10, that's where they found out that silence became a crime. But that was just the beginning, because after these trials, Hollywood itself decided to make sure no one like them ever worked again. And that's when we get into the Hollywood blacklist.
Oof.
So, after these 10 went to prison, everyone in Hollywood got the message. If you refuse to cooperate, you lose everything. If you cooperate, you might survive. And cooperating meant one thing: naming names. Not just talking about yourself. You got to talk about other people too.
This is crazy.
They didn't just want to know about you. They wanted to know about everyone you knew. Who went to meetings? Who signed petitions? Who talked about politics? Who joined unions? Right? I know. Hi, card-carrying member of Actors Equity. Come on. Did you find it?
I did
Tell
find
me.
It. Sorry. According to the interwebs, yes, you can invoke your Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination in a congressional hearing, even if you are subpoenaed to testify or produce documents. The subpoena compels your attendance. It does not override your constitutional right to remain silent if you have a reasonable fear that your answers could be used against you in a criminal proceeding.
And that's it. That's what was happening. Yeah. So, yeah.
There you go.
So, in a hotel in New York, in the Waldorf Astoria, is when the official blacklist began. So, this started in October 1947. In November 1947, studio execs met at the Waldorf Astoria, and the meeting included heads of the biggest studios in America: MGM, Warner Brothers, Paramount, 20th Century Fox, RKO, all the big ones. Okay? These are the people who controlled who worked in Hollywood. And after this meeting, they released a statement. That word is important. A statement. That's it. It became known as the Waldorf Statement. And this is where the blacklist officially begins. The studios announced they would not employ anyone who was a member of the Communist Party or who refused to cooperate with the investigations.
Wow. The studios turned on the people.
Yep.
Boo.
Yep. And here's the thing. The blacklist wasn't a law. It wasn't written down in one place. It was unofficial. It was a statement. They had this meeting in this fancy hotel, and they were like, this is what we're going to do. So studios could quietly share names with each other. Agents could stop representing people. Producers wouldn't hire you. Your phone just stopped ringing. And they wouldn't tell you why. You couldn't sue. You couldn't appeal. You couldn't prove anything because no one would say out loud that you were blacklisted.
It's like the original form of cancel culture, except you literally did nothing wrong. But this is the same sort of thing where it's they're celebrities. I mean, we talk about this all the time, but people who have had some sort of misconduct or wrongdoing, and they may or may not have actually been arrested or anything of that nature. But it's just we know this person is a piece of crap for whatever reason, and then all of a sudden oh my God, I haven't worked in 3 years and no one will cast me, and it's
no one will cast
because
me.
Audiences in our world of social media and I think information is much more readily available. But like someone like Kevin Spacey comes to mind.
Yeah.
Like he has been taken to court, but Kevin Spacey has not actually gone to prison or anything
he's
like
actually
that.
gotten out of most of the charges.
Yeah, he was like...
But he has not
exonerated,
been,
exonerated.
But he's not been hired, and that is the free market's right to say, you know what, we don't want to put him in our movie, or Netflix to say, you know what, we're not going to renew you for the next season of House of Cards because something's up here, and we don't want to be associated with you, and that is. It is their right. In this case, it sounds like Jen, they absolutely jumped the gun, and it's like. Are you allowed to do this? Yes, but also is this shitty? Also yes.
Except I don't yes, I think it's their right if there's bad press around someone, if they've made questionable moral or ethical choices. But when it comes to their political party, and if the communism at the time was an accepted political party, did they have a right to actually say we're not going to employ people part of this political party? Could they have been sued by everybody that we're speaking theoretically here, but like, do you have the right to do that? It's like, you can't say, is political party, this is maybe you got to Goog this. Is political party a protected class? I don't think there was a protected class in 1947.
I already know the answer to that. And that answer is no.
It's not. Okay.
Yeah, and of course, like we said, it wasn't written down other than the statement of like, the statement says, we're cooperating with Congress.
Right.
Gonna help you. But there wasn't anything written down saying like, if you're this and this and this, you can't be employed. Right.
And it's really tough to point at things that haven't happened. Like, I think it's one thing, to, use us as an example. If Jen is cast in a movie and then fired, and she has reason to believe that it's like, oh, they found out I'm a communist, and so they fired me because,
commie. That's
because
me.
I was saying something, in the makeup chair about my communist meetings.
Yeah,
that's one thing. But if you're never hired in the first place, and they simply cast Olivia in the movie instead of Jen, you can't say, oh, well, like I lost this job, because it's also like that industry is so like predicated on like, well,
you just weren't the right fit.
Yeah, who's to say why you were or were not given a job opportunity?
Exactly.
Like it's the plausible deniability, I think, shielded them probably a lot from, it's like, and a director or an actor, whoever, can say, well, I haven't been hired in like, X amount of time. Like something's clearly wrong, but it's hard to point at any one thing and like.
Right. During this thing later, obviously we have lists and whatnot.
I was going to say, because at some point they did like publicly accuse names and stuff.
There was a pamphlet.
This was before this.
This was before that. Right.
Yeah.
So these is even people that have never been a part of the Communist Party. Maybe they just like signed the wrong petition, or they knew the wrong person, or they pissed somebody off.
That's crazy.
Right? So
maybe they had an affair with somebody.
Maybe they had an affair with
so somebody's going to turn them into being a communist. Yeah.
Exactly. So the only way to protect yourself was to cooperate. And sometimes people named names to save themselves. Sometimes they named names because they were scared. Sometimes because they were angry. Maybe they wanted their careers back. But here's the thing. Once the system started, it fed itself, because fear spreads really fast, as we know.
I hate it, but it's true.
It's true. So now we're going to get into some of the victims, because it's very interesting how this all played out. It didn't treat everybody equally. Some people were easy to protect. Some people were maybe too famous to lose. Some people had powerful friends. Some people didn't. Women were hit very hard. Actors without studio contracts were hit very hard. People of color were hit hard. The Jewish community was hit hard.
Wow.
Activists were hit hard, and some of the stories from this time are just heartbreaking, and we're going to get into it. So we're going to talk about some of the people the Blacklist actually destroyed. The ones who didn't talk, the ones that couldn't get work, the ones who got sick from stress, who died young, probably because of all of this.
Yeah.
Wow.
So women, as we know,
it's all our fault.
It's all our fault. But we were some of the easiest to kind of like get rid of, because Hollywood never treated women like they were permanent. actresses were replaceable.
Right.
Writers who were women were very rare.
Yeah.
And women who spoke about politics were already seen as difficult. So when the accusations started coming, women started disappearing fast.
They're like, Katharine Hepburn in her pants, unacceptable.
Unacceptable,
like, get outta here.
Catherine. Yeah, exactly.
She was wearing pants. She must be a commie.
Must be a commie. Exactly. So some of the names you may or may not know, but I'll talk about them a little bit. Lee Grant was one of the most famous actresses blacklisted. She was young, talented, getting great roles at the time. Her career was really taking off. She had made a splash on Broadway in 1948 as a young shoplifter in the play Detective Story. 3 years later, she starred opposite Kirk Douglas in the big screen adaptation and earned an Oscar nom for Best Supporting Actress. And she won the Best Actress at the Cannes Film Festival. So, like, she's very, very good. Then she was called to testify. She refused to denounce her husband, Arnie Manoff, who had been accused of being a communist. And yes, he was part of the party. But that was enough. That was it. They wanted her to say her husband was a communist, and she wouldn't do it. And
Good
she
for
was
her.
blacklisted for more than a decade. For 12 years.
Wow.
No work, no films, no TV, nothing. Because she wouldn't say what they wanted. Coincidentally or not, she was of Jewish descent.
Ugh, not coincidentally.
So we have another actress, Dorothy Comingore. She starred in Citizen Kane. She was one of the most famous movies ever made, and she should have had a huge career. Instead, she was accused of having communist ties. She was investigated. Studios stopped hiring her. Her career collapsed. She struggled with money. She struggled with addiction, and she never got back to the level she was before. No trial, no conviction, just suspicion.
She plays the wife in Citizen Kane too.
She does.
She had a big role.
She had a big role. Yeah.
Wow.
So we have Oscar-winning actress Gail Sodengard refused to cooperate. She stopped working. Actress Jean Muir was fired after her name appeared in a pamphlet. So there was a pamphlet and there were names. And that's when things really started to get out of control. So her name was in a pamphlet and that was enough for her to stop working.
What if it was a different Jean? What if she was like, that's not me. That's
not
like a random
me.
civilian with the same name.
Damn it. Yeah, right? It's not me, John Smith. It's that John Smith, right?
Was it 3 names? Were they like serial killer style?
Like
We
serial
can do all
killers,
3
right?
names?
Yeah. That's what they needed
Lee
to do.
Harvey Oswald.
Oswald.
Not
We've
not
talked
David
about-
Oswald. Different
Have you
guy.
guys seen Conspiracy Theory, the movie, that
Yeah.
wonderful movie with Mel?
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
I love it.
Olivia, you have in fact talked about this.
I thought I had.
Yep.
It's like a vague echo of a memory in the back of my mind.
Yeah, there it is.
But they always have 3
She's
names.
medicated, folks. She's ready to go.
Oh my god.
So then we have writer Lillian
We should do John
Hellman.
Wilkes Booth.
Oh yeah, right? That's a good one to start. Maybe we'll end the season with that one.
Anybody ever thought about that one?
Everyone thought about that? I mean,
Olivia
that's a pretty
now.
big theater
Sorry.
crime, right?
Okay.
She's doing good, everybody.
I'm sorry.
She's doing great. All right. So we have writer Lillian Hellman, and I know this name really well.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. She wrote The Children's Hour.
The Children's Hour and the Little Fox.
Foxes.
Yeah.
Yep. And she was called to testify and refused to name names.
So wait.
She told the committee that she would talk about herself, but she would not accuse anyone else. After
Did
that,
she write-
Hollywood stopped hiring her. She was also Jewish. All right. We're going to get into one of our favorite people on this podcast, Orson Welles.
Yay, Orson Welles.
Friend of the pod, Orson
Friend of the
Welles.
Friend of the
Orson
pod.
Welles. Yes.
Not actually ever convicted of murder, but for some reason suspected a couple of
It happens
times.
a
We don't know
lot
why.
for him. We don't know.
He was grumpy. They're like, he's
He's a grumpy old man with his cigar and his,
Larger
and his
than life.
scarf. People were pissed at Orson Welles.
He looks mean. He might have done something sometime.
So at the time, director, writer, and actor Orson Welles was making groundbreaking films and radio programs, like Citizen Kane and War of the Worlds. But he was also under FBI investigation as a potential communist and political subversive. He was targeted in part because of his progressive political stances, but the suspicions only grew after the release of his classic 1941 film, Citizen Kane, whose main character served as a thinly veiled reference to the news mogul William Randolph Hearst. This is what one FBI report says.
I'm gonna hurt my arm reaching for a
I know.
motive here. Like, this
Right?
is-
I know.
Okay.
I think the Black Dahlia murder is more plausible.
Probably. So
Orson
one
Welles
FBI,
did nothing wrong.
I know, this poor guy. He just was thrown into everything.
We should actually do an episode on Orson.
On Orson Welles
Just
and
his
all
life
of his like
and how he has like popped in and out of so many of our stories
all
on
of
this
our
pod.
different things.
Just
We should do a drunk dive.
Yeah,
A
it's
drunk
like
dive on
Forrest
that.
Gump.
Yeah.
You know how Forrest Gump shows up and all this, but it's Orson Welles.
It's Orson Welles.
He just pops up. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. So one FBI report said, quoted, the evidence before us leads inevitably to the conclusion that the film, Citizen Kane, is nothing more than an extension of the Communist Party's campaign to smear one of its most effective and consistent opponents in the United States. In the FBI report. So they never found evidence that Welles was himself a Communist Party member, but it still added to its index of people believed to be a threat to national security. His name would later appear in the 1950 Red Channels pamphlet. So that's the big pamphlet that came out. But by then, he had already entered a long period of self-imposed exile in Europe. He was like, fuck this place, I'm out.
He's like, you know what? This is the last straw, you idiot.
I'm done.
I'm out of here.
I've been accused of the Black Dahlia murder.
It's like,
I'm out.
I'm gonna go like sit in a castle in Europe and smoke my cigars there because you
Yeah,
guys are not
exactly.
appreciating me in Metallans.
You don't
I'm
appreciate
out.
my scarves. I'm
Do
done.
not appreciate me.
He's gonna be in like a smoking jacket with his like snifter, and he's like,
Yeah.
He's like, they keep coming
like,
for me. I am not putting up with this anymore.
Yeah.
I would if I was Orson Welles at that point.
Yeah,
me
like, in my
too.
career, like I would tell he lived between 1915 and 1985, so he's like at midlife at this point. Like I would totally get out of Dodge.
Yeah.
If this was what was being thrown at me, I would be like, you know what, I've done enough. It's fine.
Yeah.
Like
I've given you people enough of myself.
I gave
I'm
you
out.
Citizen Kane. I gave you War of the Worlds. I'm done.
what more do you want? The lady from
What do you want
Shanghai?
from me?
Yeah.
I'm out.
It's a whole thing.
So now we're going to get into some stories of the Blacklist that didn't just end a career. It really broke someone. So one of the most heartbreaking stories from this time is the story of John Garfield. And he was one of the biggest stars in Hollywood at the time. He started movies like The Postman Always Rings Twice, Body and Soul, Gentleman's Agreement. He always played these tough working class characters. He himself supported unions. He supported progressive causes. He never admitted to being a communist, but he refused to name names. And that made him a target. He was investigated. Studios stopped hiring him. His career stalled. He was called to testify before Congress. He denied being a communist. He refused to accuse anyone else. And after that, he couldn't get work. He was under constant stress, constant suspicion. And in 1952, at the age of 39 years old, he died of a heart attack.
Ooh.
And many people believe it's because of the
sad.
stress that the Blacklist contributed
It
to
absolutely.
his death.
Absolutely.
Yeah, 39. Like, yeah, that's
39 years old. Yeah.
I don't even
he's-
remember 39.
That's because you just now got on medication.
That's true.
I'm there right now. Imagine me dropping. Like, yeah.
No.
yeah.
No, I don't want to.
I don't want to imagine it, but yes.
No.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he's if listeners, if you've never seen any of his movies, go find a John Garfield movie. The Postman Rings Twice actually is excellent, and it's also very true
excellent.
crime coded. He and Lana Turner are incredible in that movie. But Jen, to your point, he played a lot of these, I'll say, like salt of the earth, like working class, kind of like tough talking guy, but like, you know, but like with a good heart, ultimately,
the heart of gold.
But
Yeah.
like that kind of just like very, I'll say like all American, like working class man was like his character archetype in a lot of these movies. But just a wonderful actor. And I do remember reading something about, it was like, had this not happened based on his career trajectory, like he might have won an Academy Award someday. He was really like a one of Hollywood's I would say he never rose like John Garfield. We don't remember his name now. He never rose to the leading man status of a Jimmy Stewart. But at the same time, had he lived longer and had more opportunity to have a career, had it not been cut short by this, he probably would have achieved much more notoriety and been a household name still today, because his talent was worthy. And it sounds like he did nothing wrong. He just didn't want to be a snitch.
He didn't want to be a snitch. Yeah. And, now we can remember his name, hopefully, listeners out there. Remember John Garfield.
John Garfield.
So now we have Paul Robeson. He was a Black activist. He was also an actor, singer, athlete, and civil rights activist. So he spoke out against racism in the United States. He supported workers' rights. He criticized segregation. He also spoke positively about the Soviet Union, so that maybe was not a great idea for him. But all these other things are really, really good. Yeah. That particularly, all of these things together made him very dangerous to Congress. The government took his passport. So now this guy who has concerts all over the world can't perform internationally. His concerts were canceled. Studios wouldn't hire him. He's just stuck. He wasn't convinced of anything. He was just labeled a threat.
I wanted to just Google him real quick so I could see what he looked like. I'm kind of Googling as you're going along.
Paul Robeson.
Paul Robeson.
Yeah. Yep.
And this is interesting. He was testified against before Congress, the reason by Jackie Robinson. So you want to talk about how it goes outside of the arts?
Right.
Jackie Robinson testified against him because he was afraid that according to this, he was afraid that because Robson was a civil rights activist, the questionable things he had said were going to damage the civil rights movement and alienate people. So he was trying to. It's almost
to
like
save the civil rights
to save the civil rights movement. And so
what
Jackie
was
Robinson.
Sophie's choice, though? It's
right?
civil rights or communism. Who are we going to throw on the altar of these issues? My God.
Yeah.
Isn't that awful?
Hey friends, Jen here, and we hope you're enjoying this episode of Life Upon the Wicked Stage. Just a few quick reminders. If you're looking for any of the visuals that we've mentioned in this or any episode of the podcast, make sure to follow us on Instagram at Wicked Stage Pod or Facebook at Life Upon the Wicked Stage. If you want more, please join our Patreon by searching the Wicked Stage Podcast. There you'll find ad-free episodes, videos of our recordings, mini-sodes, behind-the-scenes content, giveaways, and so much more. And the most important side note, if you like the show, please give us a nice rating wherever you listen. It sounds silly, but it's still the best way to get the word out and support us in this crazy podcast world. Well, lights are blinking, intermission's over, so grab those snacks and another drink and enjoy the rest of the show. So we've talked about some people that maybe we've heard their names before a little bit, but there were people that were very, very famous that were blacklisted, and even fame didn't
save them.
Help you. Yeah.
Oof.
So by the early 1950s, the blacklist was in full swing. Studios were terrified. And we're going to talk about Charlie Chaplin. Charlie Chaplin wasn't even American. He was British.
Charles.
He just lived and worked in the United States for decades. As we know, one of the biggest movie stars in history. He made The Kid, City Lights, Modern Times, The Great Dictator. But
director.
He was also very political. He spoke out against fascism. He supported workers, and he criticized American politics. Hey, he's British. He's allowed. But
he doesn't even go here.
He doesn't even go here.
He doesn't even go to this school.
Doesn't even go here.
He just has a lot of feelings.
Exactly. The FBI investigated him for years, and he was accused of being a communist sympathizer. Not proven, just accused.
That one I actually had heard before,
Did you
which
know
is
that?
horrible. I did.
Yeah.
But that's just horrible.
So, in 1952, Charlie Chaplin left the U.S. to travel to Europe. He had a movie premiere, so he was going to Europe. While he was gone, the U.S. government revoked his re-entry permit.
Oh my God. God.
told that he needed to testify to his moral worth before he could regain the permit.
Whoa.
So the director-actor instead cut ties with America and spent the rest of his career working in Europe, except for one trip in 1972 to collect his honorary Oscar.
Wow.
He never came back to the United States again.
He's just like, I'm all set.
Yeah,
He's
all
like,
right,
I'm
fine.
going to go hang out with Orson
Welles.
over
In this castle
Europe.
over in Ireland. Yeah.
You guys
Someone
are
write
nuts.
that play. Charlie Chaplin and Orson Welles like hanging out, having a drink after they've both been
Discussing
exiled
how
from
they've
the
both been
US.
accused of
Been
communism.
exiled of communism.
Someone write this play. This is a play.
I'm on
They
it.
need a-
So, like we can see, sometimes fame couldn't save you, but sometimes it did. Because my favorite person is about to make an appearance. One of the biggest stars in America was also accused of being a communist, and nothing happened. And that star was Lucille Ball.
Yeah, I knew you were going to do this one.
So,
I love
Lucy.
Lucy.
fascinating. I love Lucy. It's fascinating. So,
This diva.
Should be a show.
I know, right? It's a great ring to it. Lucy had actually registered as a member of the Communist Party in 1936, which I know sounds shocking now, but we talked about all of that, like why maybe she did it. A lot of people did that during the Depression. Her whole family was registered. And she said that she registered to support her grandfather, who was very anti-fascism. So she was just like, to appease her grandfather, she registered as a communist.
And in
But
the 30s,
that she was never...
She was a young person then.
She was a young person, yeah,
in the
absolutely.
30s,
She was
yeah.
in her 40s, in the 50s, whenever she did her I Love Lucy. She was in her 40s. But she said that she was never an active member of the party. However, this was contradicted by a testimony given by Irina Vale, a Hollywood writer and communist, who testified in front of the House's Un-American Activities Committee that she attended a new member class at Ball's residence around 1937.
Oh, man.
So, not a good look for Lucy.
Not good, Lucy.
But in 1953, Lucille Ball voluntarily met with the House Un-American Activities Committee. And I think this is the reason, more than anything, that got her out of this. She voluntarily went. She didn't wait to be called in.
Okay.
She went.
Got in front
And
of it.
to clarify the situation, repeating that she had only registered as a communist at her grandfather's behest and never actually self-identified. And she would never vote pro-communist. This testimony was forwarded to J. Edgar Hoover, who was the FBI director at the time, as we know.
Yep.
And Lucille Ball was cleared of any suspicions.
That is, but she was actually a registered communist, and the people that weren't registered communists were taken down.
We're just accused. Exactly. Now,
That's crazy.
didn't stop the Los Angeles Herald Express from publishing the headline. Lucille Ball was read in 1936 in big red letters on the front of a newspaper. And this absolutely could have ruined her career.
Wow.
But as I Love Lucy was shot before a live studio audience, Desi Arnaz, her husband, who routinely warmed up the crowd before shows, thought it was best to continue the show as planned after that came out and
It was on the
address
air,
the situation head on. So before shooting episode 68, The Girls Go Into Business, Desi Arnaz addressed the crowd, allegedly saying, "The only thing red about Lucy is her hair, and even that's not legitimate."
Oh, how clever.
Incredible. Yeah.
The audience laughed, America laughed, and the whole thing went away.
Wow.
That is an incredible amount of PR, I think.
Yeah.
And being, I'll say, Jen, the privilege of having that platform at that time, having the creative control, because that was like their own studio,
their company,
that was
exactly. They
producing
were
their
beholden
own show.
to anyone.
Yeah, so they had the ability to do that, but also to, I remember, I think I read in her her biography or somewhere else they talked about this, and they also mentioned that they, tried out the very real fact that Desi Arnaz, his husband, his family had fled
Cuba.
Communism from Cuba. Yes.
Correct.
Why would I support this thing that my husband is exiled
Ran
from
away
and
from.
lost all their wealth and privilege and everything. Of course I don't support that. That would be crazy. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I find that fascinating. And it just tells you something important, that the blacklist wasn't about guilt. It was about power, or maybe that this was,
What
you
can
know,
we
J. Edgar
prove?
Hoover's favorite
Yeah.
show or whatever. But
Ugh.
yeah. So Lucy got off. But I do think that her going in voluntarily had a big thing to do with it. But then, yes, like you said, as a PR act, they were like, let's tell America, let's make a joke, because that's what she is, right?
But
She's
I also
funny.
wonder, because the people of I think the majority of America were behind the movement at the time. They were scared too.
They were, because they were
right?
terrified.
I wonder if
It's all
they also,
propaganda.
yes, from a PR standpoint, the government thought Lucille she's too much of America's sweetheart. If we take her down, people are going to start losing faith in the movement. It's almost like too big to fail. It's possible she was actually too beloved to.
It's very possible.
It's like you can't accuse Dolly Parton of anything and think that you're going to have.
We all know who she fucking is.
That's
not going to happen. Exactly.
But she's too beloved. You can't. So I wonder if that
Yeah.
was kind of the Lucille Ball thing. Yeah.
And it's so interesting because Lucy, I mean, I don't want to say got away with, because that's not it. They made such strides in things like they were an interracial couple on TV in the 50s.
You're right.
You know, that was a big, obviously she was like, she ran her own company. They pushed their beds together. You know, there were things. She was the first person to be pregnant on a TV show. Like
TV.
they did things.
Yeah.
You know, so it's just very interesting. And thank goodness she didn't, because I love Lucy. All right. So now we're going to get into some people that we don't like so much. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Naming names. This is the other type of story that this system had. And this is the people that cooperated, the friendly witnesses. One of the most controversial names from this time is Elia Kazan. Elia Kazan was one of the greatest directors in Hollywood. He directed A Streetcar Named Desire, On the Waterfront, East of Eden. He had once been a part of the Communist Party. When he was called to testify, he had a choice: refuse and risk losing his career, or cooperate. And he cooperated. He named names. He told Congress who else had been involved, and his career survived. But many of those people lost theirs. Even decades later, in 1999, when he received an honorary Oscar, you can tell that it still bothers people, as it should, because some people rose to their feet and clapped. He's a brilliant director. They were wonderful movies. And some people stayed right in those seats because what he did doesn't go away.
Elia Kazan also, in addition to this, which I agree, Jen, this is probably like top 3 problematic Elia Kazan things. He was also a problematic
100%.
man in some other
He
arenas
was.
that came out at a later time.
Well, we'll do a deep dive on Elia Kazan.
When we inevitably do the life and death of Natalie Wood, Elia Kazan will come back up and
will.
And just get the awooga noises ready, because my God. Not to say a man without complexity, but also he did more than one thing that was not great. Not great, Bob.
Not great.
Not great. Not great, Bob.
Not great.
Not great, Bob.
Another person involved in the investigations was a young actor named Ronald Reagan. Yep. That's right. Ronald Reagan. Before he became president of the United States, Ronald Reagan was, of course, an actor, but also president of the Screen Actors Guild. He testified before Congress. He warned Congress about communist influence in Hollywood. He worked with investigators, and he was never blacklisted. In fact, he kept working, and years later, he became one of the most anti-communist presidents in the U.S. history.
Yeah.
The Red Scare shaped his career.
Yeah.
So this
I think he was an
very
insider.
on brand.
He was an insider.
Very on brand for Ronald Reagan. Yeah. I mean, watch The Americans.
He's the one that coined the Make America Great Again.
Yep.
For his
Bill Clinton
presidential.
also said it too. Weirdly.
P.S. He was a Democrat and then decided to be a Republican because that's how he would win.
You know who else did that?
Trump. It's like we just switch parties when it's convenient. It's fine. Nothing to see over here. It's morning again in America.
America.
All right. This one's going to hurt, floozies, so just prepare yourself.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Another famous name who testified was Walt Disney. Yeah.
I did not know that. I did not know that. You cried a lot.
I cried a lot. Walt Disney believed. I know, I'm really sorry. You can still go to Disney World. It's fine.
Shit.
I think Disney was one of, I'm going to go out there and say he was probably one of those people that maybe wasn't completely informed about things, but we're going to move forward.
Ashley has melted down.
She's melted into her chair. It's very devastating.
So bleak.
And I made sure I triple checked this because I was like, wait, no, but really? Yes.
But really? Yeah. Oh, man.
He believed that communists had taken over labor unions. There was a strike within his company, and he believed that communists were behind it. That's
rather than the fact that they actually were striking because they wanted. Oh man!
I will say he was someone who, you know, he loved capitalism. That man,
he did,
and he was
good at it.
He was incredibly, we'll say, patriotic, as evidenced by a lot of his brand execution and the way he even shaped, like, Disney World. He was very like, I am an American. And I wonder, again, Jen, you researched this, I didn't, but if some of his personal feelings and ideologies colored the willingness to believe in, like, the scary, evil other, and it was like coming from a place of zeal where it was like your heart is in the right place, but you're falling down on the execution because there's really no there. And to Olivia's point, like, this was about something else, but you were also swept up in the fervor of like, yes, I as a public figure, you know, because in the 50s, like, he was very successful, like he was busy opening like Disneyland. I mean, like, he was
also very busy, so who knows what information he got. Just saying. But he testified before Congress. He named people he thought were communists, including some people in his company who had like started the strike, right? And he supported the investigations, and he was never blacklisted.
Walt, why you gotta do it, Walt?
I know.
Could've said nothing, probably.
I know.
I found a quote from him.
Go ahead. Please tell me.
No.
Actually, cover your ears.
He says, well, but this shows the complexity of,
okay.
And it's not, and you know what? And it's not fair.
It's not black and white.
And it's not fair to only try to justify him because we love Disney World, right? Like, so I just want to acknowledge that, like, that's right. Yeah. Everybody that testified for or against contained multitudes. I just found this quote, which is interesting.
She's holding
and it's in Forbes. Because, like I said, everyone you're naming, I'm Googling along the way just to be like, oh my God. So it's.
I know.
So
and it's such a deep dive. This could be a 5-hour episode.
This could. Okay, so this is from Forbes. I mean, not Forbes. I'm sorry, Fortune.
Fortune. Okay.
But he was quoted as saying when he about outing people and testifying as a friendly witness, quote, "I feel that they really ought to be smoked out and shown up for what they are, so that all of the good, free causes in this country, all the liberalisms that really are American, can go without the taint of communism. This is my sincere feeling on it." So I think, like how Jackie Robinson maybe was trying to save the civil rights movement by not having it associated with communism, maybe Walt is trying to say that all the freedoms of I don't know.
And it's a scary time. I mean, you're being told, here's the thing. You can't trust the government, but you're supposed to be able to trust your government. You want to be able to trust your government.
You want to be able to.
Right? And if they're saying something's bad,
well,
you want to believe it's bad.
You do.
It's not the case. It's always an agenda.
And I think that's human primal survival is you believe you're...
exactly.
You want to trust
you
mom
want
and
to
daddy.
trust who's in charge.
But you want to trust because, that's how the, primitive tribal communities survived following the leaders. And
I much prefer the Walt Disney quote, "It should be unlike anything anyone has ever seen and surrounded by a train."
Yes. And that is what we are going to go with today. Everything should be surrounded by a train.
Hanging on.
Thank you, Walt Disney. We love you.
It's maybe a small world.
Wasn't your best hour. That's all. Everyone makes mistakes. It's okay. All right.
Oh, boy.
So this was something that actually was very interesting to me. And now we're going to get into Joseph McCarthy. So he did not start the House Un-American Committee. He didn't start that. He came later. So by the 1950s, he became the face of all of this fear. He was a senator from Wisconsin, And he claimed that he had a list of communists inside the United States government. There was he gave this big speech in Wheeling, West Virginia, very close to where I grew up. And he said, I have this list. No rumors, no suspicions, a list. He said he knew their names. He said they were everywhere, in the State Department, in the military, in universities, of course, in Hollywood. And upon his reelection to the U.S. Senate in 1952, he was appointed chair of the Senate Committee on Government Operations and Investigations. So he didn't come in until later. But I thought he was like the beginning.
I thought he was the beginning as well.
Yeah. I know. Yeah.
But he very quickly, I think because of, Jen, you're probably about to get into some of his, we'll say, ostentatious behavior.
Yes.
His
proclivities.
Became, like the face of the movement. For those who are not familiar with Senator Joseph McCarthy, just a thumb of a man.
Such a thumb.
A thumb of a man. And also, again, this is not an episode about McCarthy, but also like problematic in so many other ways unrelated to this. But it's also like, if you know anything about like sort of like the rest of his life and career and death, it's like, oh, this all feels very on brand for you as far as like, what did you spend your time and energy doing? It's like a witch hunt, you say? Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Like this feels very...
It's so interesting to me because this whole Red Scare and the Hollywood Blacklist is literally known as McCarthyism.
Yeah, that's true.
Until like 1950, 1952. It had already been going on.
It had been going on. So who started it, Jen? Like, how did it... Congress,
I didn't have a name.
Out of fear of the Soviet Union and Cold War and seeing China taken
the House
over by
American
it, probably.
Committee. Yeah,
okay.
Feels
so
scary.
I'm so scared. Joseph McCarthy never proved any of it. He never showed the list because it didn't exist. But the accusation alone was enough. Newspapers ran the story, politicians panicked, and investigations exploded. That's when the period became known as McCarthyism. So now it's not about finding spies. It never really was. It was about fear. I mean, he drove that into the ground. And once fear takes over, facts stop mattering. And I think that's really important to think about.
And period. Like, that's it right there.
Boop.
Fear takes over, facts stop mattering.
I'm not going to go into a huge deep dive to McCarthy because he's a whole separate, Jesus Christ, a whole separate thing. But I wanted to mention him because he's important.
Did he maybe want to be an actor and just couldn't hack it? And so he was upset. And so he went after Hollywood. Is it that what it is?
That's the story I'm writing.
Yeah.
The agent was like, that nose, man. It's not going to work for me, you know?
I'll just offer up, Olivia. I know Jen just said we're not going to get into like McCarthy as a whole.
No, go for it.
Asterisk, subplot. McCarthy was also very much all about the fear of the evil of homosexuals. Because another bad and scary group. Spoiler alert, though, he may have actually been on the other side of that situation. So the calls are coming from inside the house, mayhaps.
So he was a gay actor who couldn't make it.
Correct. And that's really
so
upsetting.
This is where it came from.
So, it's like maybe his fixation on Hollywood. It was like, these
heathens, these heathens.
Communists and homosexuals, tomato, in his book. And again, like we talked about, sort of like anyone who is like other. He was very much about any scary, evil other, by any name. But let's just all lump them in this.
This is 1950s, right? We just came out of World War II with Hitler. Like it's the same fucking thing. Just with a different group.
They just don't see.
And the fact
isn't it amazing how we can't see?
Fear blinds people.
Yeah, McCarthy launched an investigation into the United States Army.
The Army. I'm gonna. Yes. That's next.
Okay.
Yes.
Don't jump ahead.
I won't jump ahead. I'm sorry.
That's it.
But this is how unhinged this was.
Exactly. And
maybe the Army.
And that's what brought him down. So that was the step too far for Joseph McCarthy. Yes. So
he's like, those boys in uniforms, they're bad too. They're bad. Get them.
They're really bad. Spank me. Anyway.
Those tight pants. Take them down.
Take them down. So the Red Scare kind of peaked in 1954. There was still a couple more years, but this was during what was known as the McCarthy hearings. And this was 36 days of televised investigative hearings into alleged espionage within the U.S. Army.
Oh my God.
Yep. So, one of the most famous moments, he was like, it's all over the Army. Everyone's a communist. And one of the most famous
We're going to need to strip search all of you.
Take them down to your skivvies, boys. Let's go. And push-ups, So...
it was like, statistically, Joey, this is impossible what you are suggesting.
Right.
Exactly.
Like,
he was like,
come on, man.
Yeah, he went too far.
Wow.
And one of the most famous moments came when an Army lawyer during these investigations said, "Have you no sense of decency, sir?" That's
where that quote comes from.
That's where that quote comes from.
Have you no sense of decency,
sir? Yes.
Wow.
That was in June 1954,
So
and he was like, boom. Yeah. So Americans were watching this in real time. They were tuned in because now, I Love Lucy's on TV, right? Television, it's in the homes now, and now they're watching this. They saw these accusations, and they saw the lack of proof. And for the first time, people started to question what was going on, and a public opinion started to turn. In December of 1954, the Senate censored McCarthy. They said, you can't do this anymore. Yeah. His power faded, but
lives were still ruined.
Had already been done. Yeah. And the House Un-American Committee was still going on. So it's just McCarthy that was censored at this point. But he had
censored or censured?
Censured. Yes. It's different.
Different distinction there.
Yeah. Okay.
Different.
Yeah.
Thank you, Ashley.
Censored is stop it. Censured is stop it. Like, censured is like, you were bad. Like,
you were bad. Slap on the wrist. Yeah.
We are denouncing what you've been doing, and we're saying we do not approve of your conduct.
Approve of you, Joseph McCarthy. Yeah. So, in my opinion, one of the biggest reasons that we really know about the Blacklist in Hollywood is because of one person, and his name is Arthur Miller. At least for me. So, Arthur Miller, playwright, death of a salesman, married to Marilyn Monroe, who I'll be covering in my next episode for a minute. Arthur Miller was called before Congress in 1956. So the House Un-American Activities Committee is still happening, right? And he was asked the same question as everyone else. Are you now or have you ever been a member of the Communist Party? He admitted he had been to meetings. He admitted he had known people. But when they asked him to name names, he refused.
Good for him.
He said, I will talk about myself, but I will not accuse anyone else. And for that, he was convicted of contempt of Congress, just like the Hollywood 10. His conviction was later overturned, but he was convicted of contempt of Congress.
Wow.
After that, Arthur Miller wrote a play. Not about Hollywood, not about communism, but about this little place called Salem, Massachusetts. During the witch trials. The play was called The Crucible, my very favorite play in the whole wide world. On the surface, it's about the 1600s, Puritans, witches, trials, but everybody knew what it was really about. It was about the Red Scare. It was about Joseph McCarthy. It was about all of this stuff that was happening. In Salem, people were accused of witchcraft. In Hollywood, people were accused of communism. In both cases, the accusation mattered more than the truth.
Yeah.
Yep.
Confessions were forced. They were putting like stones on Giles Corey. You're a witch. And he was like, no, more weight. He wasn't going to name names, right? Names were demanded, reputations were absolutely destroyed, and people were punished not for what they did, but for what they were accused of. And it was the same thing that happened in Salem. And it was true. Like, read The Crucible. So many things in that play are so true. And it's fascinating because it's the same thing. And Miller later said that the Red Scare felt exactly like a witch hunt. Because once fear takes over, logic disappears. And once everyone is afraid, no one feels safe.
And they both got stopped by going too far.
Yep.
So the army was accused, right? And it's like, okay, we can't have this. In Salem.
But still went on for a little while after that. McCarthy was stopped.
Oh.
But the committee still went on
communism
for a little while. Mm-hmm.
And in Salem, the governor, his wife was accused of witchcraft, and
Yep.
then the governor
Too
put a
far.
stop to the whole thing.
Correct. Oh, yellow bird. The girls are yelling, and the governor's like, no, my wife wouldn't do that.
You know what?
Everyone else would.
Long enough. Right.
But this has gone on long enough.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so McCarthy was stopped, but not the not the Red
But the
Scare. Got it. Okay.
So, and we're going to kind of get into what really kind of broke it now.
Okay.
And that starts with Dalton Trumbo writing in secret. So he was blacklisted. He couldn't put his name on anything, but he kept writing throughout this whole period. I liked that this said, even while the blacklist was happening, some people refused to disappear. And one of them was Dalton Trumbo.
Nice.
So
I love that.
After he went to prison, Trumbo couldn't work under his own name. Studios wouldn't hire him. Agents wouldn't represent him. His name was like literal poison. So he kept writing anyway. He wrote scripts in secret. Friends would turn them in for him. Sometimes other writers took credit. Sometimes studios pretended not to know. He even won an Academy Award while blacklisted for Roman Holiday.
Crazy.
Wait. But it went to someone else?
His name wasn't on it.
So it was like a pen name? Did he use a pen name?
He had
I love
pseudonyms.
it.
Another script, The Brave One, won an Oscar too, and it was credited to a writer named Robert Rich. Robert Rich doesn't exist.
I love it.
So
Dalton Trumbo.
when his pen name won, how did they award the Oscar? He wasn't able to be here tonight?
Oh, he's not there tonight. Yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
I love that so much.
Isn't that amazing?
That's
Isn't that
amazing.
cool? Yeah. So for years, one of the very best writers in Hollywood was hiding behind fake names just to survive. And because he's creative. Like, you ladies know, like when you're creative, like you have to do what you're creatively drawn to do. Like
I just
you
want to make
do
my
it.
art. Yeah, so
Yeah.
they're like sending
And so he was making
his
his art.
Academy Award and his check to like a post office box, and he's like going in secret with a little mustache to like pick it up. He's like, ah! Like,
He like hides it in the kitchen pantry.
like, and the
Somebody- he's
award
like,
goes to like.
So he stood, you know what? I bet he stood in his living room and gave his acceptance speech
he
to
did.
himself in the mirror.
And his
love
friends
it.
probably. He like hid it in a cabinet, and somebody he's like, yeah, go make yourself a cup of coffee, and somebody opens it and like, Dalton, there's a Oscar in here. Like,
Why do you have a random Oscar? He's like, that's mine.
don't look,
Yeah.
So
I love it.
Wow.
the blacklist didn't end all at once. So here we're gonna kind of roll into the ending of it.
Okay.
It kind of cracked slowly. So McCarthy was censured. No, bad. Right? Arthur Miller wrote The Crucible and was like, I'm not going to
Helpful.
name names. So and the public started to be less afraid. I mean, that's really the biggest thing, is that the American people were like,
Like, wait a minute, this is silly. Like, yeah.
hold on, we're not afraid. Like, this guy lied. There's no list. He just accused the army. Like, hold on.
Yeah, this is flimsier maybe than we
This is
were originally
flimsier than we
led
thought. A
to
little more
believe.
fickle. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
One of the biggest cracks came in 1960. Actor and producer at this time, Kirk Douglas, was producing the movie Spartacus. Dalton Trumbo and Howard Fast, both convicted by the HUAC, wrote the script. Douglas decided to credit Dalton Trumbo and Howard Fast. At the time when he wrote it, Dalton Trumbo went under the name Sam Jackson. That's who he was signed under. But Kirk Douglas was like, no, out loud with his real name, they credited these two people. And at the same
Douglas,
time,
a hero.
a hero. At the same time, director Otto Preminger, I'm going to say that name wrong, and I'm sorry, Otto, announced that Trumbo wrote the film Exodus. So those two things kind of happened at the same time, and they were like, we're not hiding it. He wrote it. We're going to say it. And for the first time in over a decade, a blacklisted writer was credited on major movies. It was a big middle finger to the government, and audiences
Streak.
flocked to the theaters. They were so excited because they knew who Dalton Trumbo was. They liked him.
Yeah. Well, and
You know?
Spartacus is also so that you know, it, there is that refusal to give the other up. I mean, that is the old, like, you know, the penultimate
basis
moment
of
of the movie.
Spartacus, yeah.
is them standing up and saying, I am Spartacus.
I am Spartacus.
And like
Exactly.
refusing to like, snitch. It's finally saying
It's
no, like we
so
are going to stand
poetic.
up against,
It's so poetic that was it.
I love
yeah.
that.
Wow.
So suddenly now at this point, the Blacklist started losing power. Not because anyone apologized, not because the government admitted they were wrong, because dear God, they did not do that.
No.
But because people stopped being afraid. And once the fear breaks, the whole system falls apart. 'Cause that's all it was based on. So let's talk about the real crimes, the Blacklist. Just real quick. And we're wrapping up now, ladies.
Real crimes? So there were real crimes?
The real crimes.
Oh, quote.
Quotes.
Quote. Real. Okay, got it.
The real crimes were that people went to prison for refusing to answer questions. That was the crime. That was it. People lost their careers without trials. People were blacklisted without evidence. People were forced to accuse their friends. People were investigated for their beliefs. People were punished for things that weren't illegal. And then no one who created the blacklist went to jail. Not a one of them. No one who ruined those careers was charged with anything.
I hate it.
The people who lost everything weren't criminals. They were actors, artists, activists. But once the fear took over, that was enough to totally level everything in their life. No one was held accountable. And it's so frustrating because if you look at the pattern, it never actually went away. Public shaming, guilt by association, loyalty tests, people afraid to say the wrong thing, people losing work because of what they believe or what someone says they believe, people being detained without cause or due process. Every generation thinks that it would never fall for a witch hunt, and every generation finds its own version of one.
Yep. Again, so boring, but we keep doing this
Over
Doing
and
the same
over
stuff.
and
It's
over.
like,
Yes.
it's like,
This
hey
is-
guys, have we thought about have we thought about having a recession? Like, could that be a cute look for us? I don't know. Like, are you into it? Like,
Are you into that?
This is why aliens don't make their presence known to us, because
they
we
don't-
can't get out of our own stupid patterns.
like pass.
This is why knowing your history is important, because if you know your history, you're not doomed to repeat it. And if you don't educate yourselves, you're doomed to fucking repeat it. And it happens all the time.
I will say,
It's happening right now.
for our listeners, do with this piece of information what you will. Senator Joseph McCarthy did in fact die in the midst of all of this. He died officially from cirrhosis of the liver, meaning he drank himself to death in the midst of all this. Yeah, 1957 he dropped. But there is significant reason to believe that he actually unalived himself. So do with that what you will. But yeah, he died a miserable shell of a man.
He did. So
at least there's that.
At least there's that, right?
At least
It's something. It's not
something to hang on to.
Justice was not done. Like, he was not held accountable.
Nope,
But
not at all. He was just given a little slap on the hand.
Yeah, they were like, stop it, Senator.
Stop
You've
it,
gone
Senator
too
from
far.
Wisconsin.
And then he pieced right on out.
Yep.
Yeah, he died in 1957. But that was before even like the Spartacus came out in like 1960. So
it
like
was still happening.
Yeah, there was still plenty of fallout, but I would say he was, one of the big, we'll say like spokespeople for this movement, and was probably like the single loudest individual on that committee as far as like personally being like, I will like interrogate you or like lead the charge kind of thing. So
I mean, the whole movement was called McCarthyism. So
but only death stopped that guy. I mean, there wasn't. It wasn't like he was like, oh my gosh, I was so wrong. Like, that never happened. Like, that was not a situation.
So, in conclusion, the Red Scare in Hollywood, it didn't uncover a spy ring. It didn't stop a revolution. It didn't save a country. What it did was destroy careers, break friendships, ruin lives. People went to prison for refusing to talk. People disappeared for signing petitions. People were erased for having the wrong beliefs. And the people who made it happen kept their jobs, kept their power, and kept their reputations. Arthur Miller wrote that the Salem witch trials happened because people were afraid. The Red Scare happened for the same reason. Fear is powerful. Fear spreads fast. And once a country decides it needs someone to blame, it doesn't take much to start a witch hunt.
It reminds me of the quote. It's one of my favorite quotes for obvious reasons. Beware of artists. They mix with all classes of society and are therefore the most dangerous. So it's funny that was not from McCarthyism. In recent times, it's been attributed to that, but it actually came from Queen Victoria's uncle. Wrote it to her in a letter to warn her about artists. So I just want to say, like,
we're horrible.
We're
everybody.
always under attack because we are unpredictable.
Just trying to make the world a more beautiful place.
Yeah, but like we can step into the skin of other people so easily
That's
that
true.
We're not easily controlled, I think, because we have to take so many different points of view.
Because we have our own brains and our own ideas.
Yeah, and you have to to step into other people's shoes so often that we, I think, inherently as artists don't have innate faith in authority.
And so much of this discussion, Olivia, too, has been, like we said at the beginning, like this is a big old First Amendment exercise and a free speech exercise. I was thinking of, I think it was in The West Wing, but I had to look up who actually said it. But it's a Voltaire quote. So this is
Voltaire.
But Voltaire said, I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it.
There you go.
Ooh, yes.
There you go.
Yes.
That is basically the idea of the First Amendment is like, you can disagree, we can disagree with someone saying, well, I'm a communist and I, think that people, should have these rights, or I think this is the way, we should be organized. You can disagree with that without, taking it to the extent of like, well, this should be illegal for you to think these thoughts or to say these things or to go to a meeting or something like that. And like at what point does a belief, rise to the level of being dangerous? But I think it's much grayer maybe than we want to.
Than we want to believe.
Binaries are comforting. It's really comfortable to have certainty and to think like it's either A or B and that's it. And if you're not for us, you're against us. Like I think it's that's easy, and that's frankly that's lazy because it's not nuanced. But we're so bad at nuance. We really are.
We're really bad at nuance. We want to have a hero, and we want to have a hero, and we want to have a villain, and.
Well, Jen, this was a fascinating account.
Yeah, I learned some things.
I did.
Right?
I did.
Me too.
I did. I didn't know Ronald Reagan did all that, but also I'm not surprised in the least.
I know.
I was like, of course he would be inserting himself into this and be like, I have some names. Good Lord.
And then basically ran on that platform.
Right.
For president.
I'm definitely going to need the play of Orson Welles and Charlie Chaplin and like a third.
And one other person.
Like
I've already selected who the third will be.
Who is it, Olivia?
Okay. I'm saying this now. Copyright. Nobody else can write this play.
Yeah. I'm writing it.
No.
Are you writing it?
Olivia's writing, apparently.
Now I have
focus. Go for it.
I have focus.
You're right. You're on your meds. You can do it.
She's medicated. She's on this.
You're right. You can do it. I'll let you borrow my final draft. Okay, continue.
Charlie Chaplin, Orson Welles, and Lena Horne.
Lena Horne.
Oh,
because she was accused.
Oh, yes,
and she
black woman. Yes.
She toured Europe during the Red Scare. So I'm imagining a room with three of them in it.
Yeah.
Talking
Olivia,
about.
Listeners, you heard it here first. Olivia
Maybe it's a
DeMarco's
cafe.
Original play. Oh, I feel like it has to be like a bougie, like a country estate. Like I need
Estate.
like a stag head on
Better.
the wall.
Okay.
It's like Cafe La
Maybe
the cafe
Picasso
at La
at the
Pina
Pina
Gil.
Gil.
Oh yeah, Picasso at the
Picasso
La
at the
Pina Gil, which is
Gil.
the cafe where they all meet. But that's kind
It's
of
so
what,
great. Read it.
Yeah.
Steve Martin.
I need an English estate for sure. Yeah,
I agree. Maybe they rent it from the the king of England or something.
Yeah,
know
I think it's
Orson Welles
Orson's
Queen, 'cause it's
estate.
Queen.
Yeah.
I think it's
You think
Orson's
it's his
estate.
He bought it. Okay, great.
Charlie goes in. When it happens to Charlie, Charlie is invited over for tea, and Lena is touring, and they're going to go see her show that night. But first, they invite her over. This is what I've decided.
All right.
A pre-show
raining?
brandy.
I think it should be raining.
Yes.
Conversation. Ooh,
A dark and stormy night.
Dark and stormy night.
like a light rain and the. I don't know.
Well, it's England, so yeah.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, done.
I love this.
Opening at Fringe 2028.
Yes.
I can't wait.
I'll give you 2 years to write it.
I need 2 years to write this.
Jen will be. What is your role in all this, Jen? Olivia is the writer. I feel I should produce. That seems to be something.
You want
I
to direct
do
it, Jen?
sometimes.
Can I direct it?
Jen is the director. I love this. Incredible.
Done.
Who in town will be cast? This is just fun. Now we're just spitballing.
This is fun. Now we're on our
Oh.
Patreon, everyone. Who would
I
be
feel like
Orson Welles?
Philip Nolan would be my first choice.
Fuck yes.
For
Welles.
Orson?
Yes.
For Orson
Yes.
Welles, Philip Nolan.
Now there's a guy named Billy. Is it Scadlock? Who is like a Charlie Chaplin impersonator that I've worked
know
with.
this
He's a great
person.
actor. He'll be Charlie. He's
Billy.
fucking
All right,
awesome.
Billy.
Who's gonna be
Lena
Lena?
Horne.
Lena Horne. That's going to be a tough one. I could see
many.
Trinell.
Trinell could do it. Sure. Yep.
Yeah.
She's so that's hard.
She is very Eartha Kitt.
She's so Eartha Kitt. That's all right. We're gonna
many
find
good
her. There's
actresses.
a yeah. There's a great Lizzie Allens is lovely and she can play.
Oh.
You know who Lizzie
Lizzie
is?
would be-
She'd be great.
Would be great.
She would be
Lizzie.
wonderful.
I could also see a Desiree.
Desiree?
Montez.
Desiree!
Desiree Montez.
Oh,
she actually
fuck
kind of looks like her.
yeah.
She actually kind of
She
looks like her.
does.
You're right.
I could see
Desiree.
that.
She's
I could
Yeah,
got
see
a
Desiree
little
Montez
more
would be a good one.
life. You know, she's lived a life. So yeah. Yep. All right. Well, there we go.
We have a cast.
All right, we're ready to go. We got to come up with a title and we're set.
Oh my God.
That's
What does
okay.
one
We don't have
even
to come up with
call
it right
this?
now. Next time.
All right. Yeah. Next time.
That's our goal.
Put a pin in this. We'll
I'll
come
have a title.
and next
Right
week's
now, it's just
recording.
working title, but I'll have a title
Working
next
title.
episode.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
next-
what you're going to be
next-
thinking about while you're taking your mom to
To the concert tonight.
The concert
To the
tonight. You're gonna,
Philharmonic.
what is the name of
Her mind is
that?
wandering.
Hey.
At the OPO.
Yeah. Well,
Next week is it's me. I'm on deck next. So I was gonna do one thing, and I won't. If I've already said what it is, it doesn't matter. But I decided to table it because I was like, I've had some like old and obscure things this season. I feel, and this was like
You have,
another.
but I love it.
This was like another thing in that category. I'm like, I'll save that for a later date when
Okay.
we need to like change it up. Instead, I'm going to do. I have to credit Rich at Rich's suggestion.
Thanks, Rich.
I'm gonna. Thanks, Rich.
Not a thumb.
Not a thumb.
We love
In
Rich.
fact, no, Rich can stay. Rich and I shall be wed, so that's probably a good sign.
You shall be
Shall be
wed.
wed. He shall stay in the back of my profile picture forever.
There shall be tales from a bachelorette party at some point. So.
Yeah,
It's not a
so soon.
bachelorette. It is Floozy Fest 2026. Let's get our
Dare
name
I?
right.
Dare I forget that?
A bachelorette party, listeners. For those who don't know, I am engaged to be married, and I am not having a bachelorette.
Do not the
because
thumb, Rich.
That invokes a certain imagery, and I literally we were
Penises.
at dinner.
Penis straws is what I was going to say.
We don't want them.
We were at dinner last night, and we saw a bachelorette party come through, like clearly like having dinner like before they like pregame to go like out for the night. It was Saturday night, and I just looked over and I was like, no. I was like, not a sash, not a tiara, like the accoutrement, straight to jail. So I will be having a tasteful ladies'
Fest.
evening entitled Floozy Fest 2026. We're rebranding, but
I love
it. At
Yes.
Rich's recommendation, I will be doing the disaster of the Twilight Zone movie.
I don't know anything about this.
I'm so excited. I love the
don't-
Twilight Zone.
Don't look it up, Olivia,
Okay.
because
Should I watch the movie?
No, don't watch it.
no.
Don't.
Okay.
Don't do anything.
Let's
because,
watch it after.
Yes,
Okay.
after. Yes, for sure after. But the I feel like if you watch the movie, you may wonder about certain things.
Okay.
So all this to say, it's amazing that movie was released at all.
Is it a crime? Is it a scandal? What would it fall under?
Scandal.
Yes.
Yes.
Both. Ooh,
I
I'm so
cannot
excited.
wait.
based on things that happened during the making of this film, things were changed, and there are things in place that we now know today as the direct result of the shit show that was this movie.
Really?
Yes. So strap in. It's going to be a Santa's bag of wrongdoing and production mayhem. So get ready.
Fun.
Yeah, it's
I'm going to wear my fancy robe. Today I was moving around too much. It was going to get caught on shit.
Oh, no, I
don't have time for that.
No time for that.
Well, until I feel like we need a strong close. Leave us with a line from the Crucible.
John Proctor in the Crucible said, "Because it is my name, because I cannot have another in my life, because I lie and sign myself to lies." Don't give up your name, man, and don't give up your friends.
Snitches get stitches.
That's it. That's the end right there.
And scene.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of the Wicked Stage Pod.
Follow us on Instagram and check out our Patreon for more exclusive content.
These deliciously wicked episodes drop every other Friday, so make sure you subscribe or follow and don't get left waiting in the wings.